Is the number one back pain exercise. This one's more advanced, and it may even be better than the best. Don't want to make it too complicated. This one's called bird dog. Not sure why they call it that, but I think it has something to do with the dog pointing. Tried to look it up. Cody told me nobody cares. Why do we do this? We do this because doctors don't have to report outcomes, but also we do this to give you the tools to live your life pain-free. And the goal is for you to live your life pain-free. In our clinics, we have a 12-step process to eliminating our patients' back pain, and we've been doing this for 23 years. We have a lot of experience. And one of the really important steps is the corrective exercise. So today you're getting one of our corrective exercises. And this one's really good for a lot of different conditions. We've talked about how some are good for herniated disc and some are maybe not so good for herniated discs. The double knee rotation, we talked about that not being so good, but maybe Sphinx being good for some people, double knee to chest. I don't want to confuse you, but this exercise is kind of good for everybody. It's one of the few exercises, if you do it right, it's good for everybody. And there's a trick to doing it right. And it's all about balance. So there are different reasons that you have back pain. Bulging disc, herniated disc, degenerative disc, stenosis, spondylolisthesis. Those are the main ones. And again, we talked about the other day, maybe some are better than others, but in this, for bird dog, this is kind of good for everybody. So it doesn't matter what your condition is, you can do this one without having to be too worried about it, although this is not a diagnosis, nor is this a treatment. If you have a problem, you need to see a doctor. That's my disclaimer. Okay, so what does the bird dog do? We also call this quadruped. Well, builds muscles in the whole spine, and it's really good for the core. So again, typically, if you have low back pain, it's one of these little discs here that's causing you some trouble. Sometimes it's the bone gets a little bit broken. They call that the spondylolisthesis. Those are more advanced and maybe a little bit more complicated, but 99% of you have a problem in this area with the discs. Okay, if the pain is not going away, typically it's the disc. So we want to work all the muscles of the core. We've talked about this a lot. The core is very important. The core is the little muscles on the back and all the way around to the front, to your six-pack. That's the rectus abdominis. So you want to get all these muscles working together, but you want to make sure they're all strong. So this exercise is good for this. The bird dog will do this. So we strengthen the spine, we strengthen the core, lowers your risk of back pain. This is really a good prevention exercise. I think squats are a really good prevention exercise. Balance is really good, but this is really good for what we call the multifidus muscle. Strengthening the multifidus muscle. It's really good for stenosis as well. Stenosis is that narrowing of the opening. Strengthens the glutes. One of my patients the other day, two stories. One is the patient didn't know what the glutes were. That happens, okay? The glutes are this muscle right here. It's your it's the muscle on the back. Is there a name I can use for that? These are your glutes. All right, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. But really, here's the key to this. This is the key. This is the most important part of this video, is the multifidus muscle. The multifidus muscle is responsible for keeping your spine in the stable position, also what we call neutral, the neutral position. And it's real small muscles on the back. Why is this important? This is important because very often when you have an injury, within the first week of the injury, the multifidus muscle, which is this muscle right here, starts to physically get smaller. It's called atrophy. And that muscle will get smaller by 25% the first week of injury. And the longer this problem goes on, it can develop up to a 60% atrophy. It's a big problem. We had a patient come in the other day, and we did an MRI, which is one of our steps. Found that her multifidus had decreased by over 60%. Okay, it's these little muscles. She'd had the back pain, and everything above it, it was L5, S1. Everything above it was fine. So these muscles are super, super important. And this exercise, the bird dog, is very specific for these muscles. It does your core. What's the core? The erector spinae here, these muscles. Actually, it'll do it all the way up your spine to your shoulders. It'll also get the multifidus and the quadratus lumborum. These are all the muscles of your back. Okay, here's the back. It's all these muscles right here. Also get the rectus, the muscles in the front. Let's see your six-pack. Okay, you might not have a six-pack if you do the bird dog, but if you do it long enough, maybe you will. That's not the goal. The goal is stability. The goal is always stability. It's this muscle right here. So what do we know? When you have an injury, these little muscles that hold everything together start to turn off neurologically. We talked a little bit about reciprocal inhibition, but what happens is the joints start to slowly neurologically turn off these muscles. When you inject cortisone into these joints, which is where they inject cortisone, when you're having a cortisone injection, it turns the muscle off. One of the side effects of cortisone, and there's a lot of them, but one of them is you turn off the multifidus. This is super, super, super important. So what does it look like? It's not complicated. It really is not a complicated exercise. Okay? Here's Dr. Amy. She's our physical therapist. She's a doctor of physical therapy. So what you do is you're on your hands and your knees. And what you're going to do is you're going to slowly lift up one leg, and you're going to slowly lift up one arm. You won't necessarily do it at the same time. So we'll get a side view here so you can see what this looks like. And I want to show you. You do one leg at a time. And you want to do 20 reps. You're going to do 10 on each leg. So here's what it looks like. So you're going to start by doing one leg. Okay? And then you put it back down, and then you do the other leg. Again, what are we doing? We're doing all these muscles here. And you don't want your spine to be all twisting like this. You want to go slow where you can maintain some control. The one thing about the multifidus, if it's really weak, it's hard to maintain control. So you want to maintain control. Like you do any exercise, you want to maintain control. So you do one leg. Okay, now this is more advanced. She's doing one arm. So technically, the way you would start it is you could start just on both your knees and both your hands, and then you lift up one arm, and you put that back down, and you lift up one leg, and you put that back down. And when you get more advanced, you do both. And she's technically, it's hard to see, but she's doing her right arm and her left leg. Okay, so it's opposite. What does that do? Okay, it helps you sort of maintain stability in this area. One of the key components of function, 10 times, both legs. So you do 20 reps a day. Now, a more advanced one, and I don't recommend this one, is where you do the same side, the right arm and the right leg at the same side. And then you switch sides, because what that does is it forces you to lean to one side, and it's very advanced. Okay, when you do an exercise, it's important that you start at a level that you can maintain, and then you progress and add more instability or more difficulty as you progress. So there's progressions of exercises. This is called the quadruped, but also called the bird dog. So I hope I didn't make it too confusing. Sometimes I make this a little longer. I know that you guys kind of like the shorter ones, but we'll get to that. So what do? We fix the disc. If you're not getting better, you come see us. We'll fix your disc. This is what we do. We make them better. We solve major, major, major problems. Here's what I want you to do. We have a lot of videos for exercises, for tips, for stretches, about the anatomy. I want you to share these videos with your friends and your family and your coworkers and your enemies, don't care. And I want you to like our Facebook page. And more importantly, all these videos, it's hard to find all these videos if you go to different locations, but they're all in YouTube. So if you Google Illinois Back Institute, that's where you Google YouTube. Search inside YouTube for Illinois Back Institute, you can find it. But you subscribe or tweet us, anything you want to do, anything you like. So we're here for you. We're here to solve your problems. Today's the bird dog. I'll figure out why they call it bird dog for next time, if anybody cares, because Cody said he doesn't care. That's it. I'm out. Today's Thursday. Got to get home. Indiana's playing basketball. Don't tell me the score because I'm going to TiVo it. And we're done. Have a good night. And if you are on YouTube, I want you to watch a video, but I'm also going to put a link right here to subscribe, because some of you have not subscribed. It's going to be right here. Doesn't matter.